Hello everybody. If you want all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 932, Resonance. Advanced. Dr. Eleanor Voss sat alone in the laboratory long after the other researchers had left. The banks of equipment glowed softly under the fluorescent lights. She had spent weeks refining a sequence of low-frequency tones, convinced they might reveal patterns in the human brain that ordinary sound could never reach. She adjusted the final setting and pressed the start button. A deep vibration filled the room, almost below the threshold of hearing. It rose slowly, layer upon layer, until the air itself seemed to tremble. Eleanor closed her eyes and listened. After several minutes, a second sound joined the tones. It was faint at first, like a breath drawn across glass. Then it formed words. Eleanor. She opened her eyes. The speakers were silent. The voice had come from somewhere near the far wall. She stood and walked towards it. The vibration continued, steady and relentless. Eleanor, the voice repeated, closer now. We have been waiting. The lights flickered once. In the brief darkness, a shape moved across the wall, taller than any person, without clear outline. When the lights returned, the shape remained, pressed against the plaster, as if it had grown there. It peeled itself free and stepped onto the floor. Eleanor backed towards the console. Her hand found the stop switch, but the machine ignored her. The tones climbed higher. The figure advanced without sound. Its surface shifted constantly, sometimes smooth, sometimes rigid like wet clay. Where a face should have been, there was only a hollow that reflected the laboratory lights. It spoke again, and this time the voice came from inside her own head. You called us with the correct notes. Now you will listen. Images flooded her mind. Corridors that twisted without end. Rooms filled with figures like the one before her, all of them leaning forward to hear. She tried to scream, but no sound left her throat. The figure raised one arm and touched the side of her head. Cold spread through her skull. The tones from the machine grew louder still. Eleanor felt her thoughts rearrange themselves, memories unspooling and reforming into patterns she could not understand. She saw the laboratory from outside her body. She saw the figure leaning over the console, adjusting the dials with careful precision. She saw herself standing motionless while the vibration continued. Hours later, the machine switched itself off. The laboratory fell silent. On the floor lay a single white laboratory coat, empty and neatly folded. The recording device it had captured only the original sequence of tones, followed by a long stretch of perfect quiet, and then the same sequence beginning again, as if the experiment had never ended. The next morning, the cleaning staff found the coat and the still warm equipment. They reported nothing unusual. The project continued under a new supervisor who decided the frequencies were worth exploring further. If you learned a new word today, please make sure to subscribe so you can practice again next time. Vocabulary notes. Refining. Meaning, improving something carefully by making small changes until it is better or more exact. Example, she had spent weeks refining a sequence of low-frequency tones. Similar words, improving, polishing, perfecting, adjusting, honing. Threshold, meaning the level or point at which something begins to happen or can be noticed. Example, a deep vibration filled the room, almost below the threshold of hearing. Similar words: limit, boundary, edge, starting point, brink. Relentless, meaning continuing without stopping or becoming weaker, not giving up. Example: the vibration continued, steady and relentless. Similar words: constant, continuous, persistent, unending, unceasing. Precision, meaning the quality of being exact, accurate and careful. Example: adjusting the dials with careful precision. Similar words: accuracy, exactness, care, exactitude, meticulousness. Unspooling, meaning unwinding or coming out in a continuous length, like thread from a reel, used here to describe memories flowing out freely. Example: memories unspooling and reforming into patterns she could not understand. Similar words: unwinding, unraveling, flowing, pouring out, streaming. Story generated by Grok. Image generated by Grok. Animation generated by Clipbee. To read, listen, see all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.